All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a massive life upgrade. We're going to explore this really fascinating concept, how to completely reset your life in just 6 months. And the best part? You don't have to burn everything down and start from scratch to do it. It's all about forcing intentional change. So let's start off with a pretty powerful question, one that really creates some immediate personal stakes for you here. What if you were just 6 months away from the life you actually want to wake up to? Just really think about what that means for a second. No more clocking in to build someone else's dream. No more pretending that you're perfectly fine with a life that's just, good enough or just scraping by. We're talking about a total transformation here. Think of this explainer as your personal GPS. Here's our roadmap for this 6-month transformation. First, upgrading to You 2.0. Then, step 1, absolute clarity. After that, we'll talk about mastering one high-income skill, creating your roadmap, and finally, the power of disappearing. Let's kick things off with upgrading to You 2.0, leaving behind the default programming. This perfectly illustrates the passive acceptance of your default life compared to the intentional creation of a brand new identity. See, You 1.0 is the version of you born into a specific city with specific parents and specific teachers. That version unconsciously just absorbed other people's programming, their constructs, and their ideas of what you're supposed to do. But You 2.0, that version looks at that default setup and says, no way. From this moment forward, I'm actively changing what I don't want, and I'm building the exact life I do want, right from the ground up. Moving right along to step 1, absolute clarity, defining your North Star. The absolutely crucial point to grasp here is that vagueness, it literally leads to self-sabotage. When your brain doesn't know exactly where it's going, it just falls right back into old, comfortable patterns. That is exactly why people start and stop and start and stop over and over. They tell themselves they keep falling off track, but honestly, they just aren't clear on the destination. Most folks are just busy being busy, trying to survive the day without ever asking where they're actually headed. Having extreme, detailed clarity is your absolute superpower. You need to ask yourself this exact question every single day to essentially rewire your expectations. If I could do anything, without fear, without failure, without limitation, what would my life look like in 6 months? The more detail you can pack into that answer, the better. You need to visualize it daily. You have to let this new life become an absolute obsession. Next up, we need to master one high-income skill, the power of singular obsession. Now, there are countless paths you can take to actually fuel this new life. We're talking running Facebook ads for local businesses, freelance writing, copywriting, starting a Shopify store, or even running a faceless YouTube channel. The internet has made the barrier to entry incredibly low for all of these high-income skills. And the best part? You absolutely do not need a formal degree for any of this stuff. You just need to learn the skill. But listen, here is the absolute golden rule. You must pick just one skill. One. Not 2, not 3, definitely not 15, just one. For example, the author of our source actually found massive success by actively shutting down a profitable Amazon business just to focus solely on coaching and podcasting. Because you're new to this, I know everything is going to look super tempting. But if you try to do everything, you're going to master absolutely nothing. I know it sounds kind of crazy to say you can become world-class in just half a year, right? But the reality is, 99.9% of your competition simply cannot sit down and focus on learning something new for that length of time. If you dedicate 6 solid months to one single obsession, you will outpace almost everyone. Will you master it perfectly? Maybe not, but you will absolutely build a massive lead. All right, let's look at how to create your roadmap, executing the plan with imperfect action. It's such a crazy contradiction, isn't it? People will meticulously plan for their corporate marketing job, but then they treat their own life's direction like trying to grab water. At work, you've got spreadsheets, key performance indicators, quotas, standard operating procedures, the whole shebang. But personal goals, they're so often just left as this completely vague orb. Look, if you wouldn't drive from Florida to California without a GPS, why on earth would you try to navigate your life's biggest transition without a roadmap? So what's the methodology here? First, you establish your North Star. Then you create a detailed plan. From there, you take what we'll call stupid small steps. Don't set a goal to get 1 million YouTube subscribers if you've literally never uploaded a video. Just upload one video. And finally, expect and allow for detours. If you're driving across the country and there's a car crash blocking the road, you take a detour. You don't just abandon the entire trip, right? Think about it like a steak. If I hand you a massive steak, you don't eat it whole in one bite. You cut it up piece by piece. And that is exactly how you must approach these life changes to avoid getting totally overwhelmed. Most people look at the massive plate of everything they need to do, learning a skill, building a website, finding clients, and they just freak out. Don't look at the whole plate. Just take the knife and fork, cut one piece, and eat it. Be entirely okay with imperfect action. Anyone who has ever done anything great has taken the long way around and messed up over and over again. And that brings us to our final step, the power of disappearing, the ultimate 6-month reset. Now, I'm going to be real with you. This requires a serious social sacrifice. For the next 6 months, you have to cut out the noise. That means parties, excessive socializing, basically anything that doesn't move the needle towards your ultimate goal. Essentially, you need to disappear. Ghost. Go die. Go completely heads down. Now, obviously, if you have kids or family obligations, you fulfill those. But the vast majority of your free time needs to become an absolute obsession with this new life. And hey, if friends get mad that you're working on your goals, well, they probably weren't true friends in the first place. There's a really profound phenomenon that happens when you actually do this. The author of our source shares an amazing anecdote about traveling abroad extensively back in 2017. Upon returning after 6 months of being entirely off the grid, everyone back home was doing the exact same routines, hanging out in the exact same places, watching the exact same shows. The world is not going to stop when you step away, but the person who returns to it, you will be absolutely unrecognizable. And what's truly fascinating is the actual biology behind all of this. We aren't just talking about raw motivation here. Neuroplasticity is very real. When you spend 6 months fully immersed in learning a high-income skill, visualizing a new North Star, and taking consistent action, your brain actually physically rewires itself. That old identity, those fears, all those limiting beliefs, they literally lose their biological grip on you. 6 months of insane focus will outperform 6 years of half-trying. Man, that quote just perfectly captures the ultimate payoff here. You step into the 2.0 version of yourself, and you finally stop asking the world for permission. You walk into a room differently. You talk to yourself differently. You start demanding the things you actually deserve instead of just settling for okay. You become the main character of your own life. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder as you decide whether or not you want to take the leap. Don't let this be just another chapter where you try for a week and then give up. Let this be the exact moment that the 1.0 version of you is retired for good and you 2.0 steps in. You've got the roadmap now. The only question left is, are you ready to let the next 6 months be your ultimate comeback story?